In this episode, I'm going to show you guys how you can immigrate to the United Kingdom as a teacher. So whether you're teaching in a crèche, in a nursery school, in a primary school, in a high school or secondary school, in a university, it's all the same. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can migrate to the UK from any country in the world, okay? It mustn't be Africa, it mustn't be Asia, wherever you are in the world, you can immigrate to the UK and continue your profession as a teacher. If you're interested in learning more about this content, I would suggest you give me 1 second. You guys already know what comes next. Yep. I'm going to dash up to the market, do some purchases, and then I'm going to be right back with more. You know the way I do it when I drop lyrical. Anytime I spit lyrical, philosophical. All the niggas mimical, but it's fair still. Won't take it literal. Punchlines collateral. Maximum damage. Hello, Chronicles. Hello, YouTube. How are you all doing today? It's still your value-based king, Fuse, from FuseChronicles.com. You guys already know what we do. Why am I telling you guys what we do? You know. We are your one-stop shop for anything and everything that has to do with travel, tourism, and lifestyle. Now, like I said earlier, in this episode, I'm going to be telling you guys how you can move to the UK with your professional qualification as a teacher. Now, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn, a lady I've never met before, don't know her from Adam. She sent me a message and said, listen, I want to know how to move to the UK as a teacher, and it's just because of this beautiful lady that I decided to make this video. And yes, it is possible for you to move to the UK as a teacher. To move to the UK as a teacher, you only need 3 things. Just 3 of them. 3 things. One is to choose the correct visa category. You need to choose the correct visa category and apply for that visa. First, to get to this stage of applying for the visa, it means obviously you have applied to a school in the UK and they've accepted you as a teacher, sent you your certificate of sponsorship, and then you're going to apply for the visa to move to the UK as a person, as a single person, or with your family. The second thing you need is an experience. You need an experience as a teacher and qualification as a teacher. So you need to be a qualified teacher who has been teaching for a while, maybe usually between 1 to 3 years and above, to be qualified to move to the UK as a teacher. Now, when I use the word UK or United Kingdom, I don't just mean England. I'm talking about both Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and yes, England. Okay, so you need to be a qualified teacher. I'm going to talk about the visa you need at the end. I'm going to be talking about the qualification and experience you need as a teacher to qualify under this statute. And finally, number 3 point, you need to pass some form of security check. This is mandatory. I read in a couple of places where people said it's not mandatory, you can bypass this. No, that is just pure bollocks. You need to pass security check. There's going to be a background check. I'm going to talk about this as well just before I talk about the visa stage, how you're going to go about getting this. But if you're interested in moving to the UK, maybe you're a teacher in Nigeria, you're a teacher in Ghana, in the Philippines, you're a teacher in Australia, in Canada, and you're thinking, is it possible for me to move to the UK to teach or continue my career or profession as a teacher? It's possible, and these are what you need. If you are outside the UK, now if you're outside the UK, you are going to need to prove that you have the required experience as well as qualification to be called a teacher. If you are in the UK and you have the right to work in the UK, the criteria that you're going to require or need to get a job to teach in the UK is quite different from those for people coming from other countries into the UK. For people in the UK, you just need to show that you have a right to work in the UK and you have a bachelor's degree. It mustn't be a bachelor's in education, it mustn't be a bachelor's in science, it mustn't be a bachelor's in engineering. You just need to prove that you have a bachelor's degree, and that qualifies you to apply to work in a school, an English school, as a teacher. For those coming outside the UK, you need a bachelor's in education or a bachelor in any other discipline or course. Now, if you have a bachelor's in education, obviously you're going to be prioritized. Your application is going to be prioritized over those that just have regular bachelor's degree, because obviously a bachelor's in education means you've been trained and groomed to be teacher of the year. That's not a bad thing. That is an amazing thing if you're interested in moving to the UK to work. You're also going to need some level of vetting. Now, what I mean by vetting in this context, I mean you're going to need some level of recommendation, referral from your boss or the highest person, authority in the organization that you're teaching in at the moment. Say you're in Nigeria, you're teaching in a government secondary school, or you're teaching in a private school, you need the principal and the VP or the vice principal academics to write reference letter on your behalf that attests to your impeccability of character. This is very important. You also need to belong to a teacher body. So maybe your National Association of Teachers or your National Union of Teachers. You need to belong to this body, because belonging to this body already proves to the Home Office for the UK that you must have been a teacher for them to accept you as a member in this body. Now, it's possible, it's very, very possible that you could watch this video right now and say, oh God, I love this. I love what Fuse is on about. I'm going to look for schools and I'm going to apply. Yes, you can do this, and you guess what? You can also get accepted to become a teacher in that school in the UK. Why? It means you don't need some bogus or outlandish qualification, maybe like the qualified teacher status certification. You don't need that. I'm going to talk about the qualified teacher certification in just a little bit, but you don't need that to get work from your country to immigrate to the UK to work. Yes, you can apply to schools and they're going to give you a position. Obviously, you're going to see your bachelor's certificate from the university you graduated from. They're going to see that you're already a teacher who has been teaching for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in your country at the moment. They're going to see all this stuff. They're going to see your glowing letters of recommendation from your principal and vice principals. They're going to see that they're going to offer you a position as a teacher in that school. However, you're going to be able to only hold down that position for a period of only 4 years. When you apply without foreign qualification or certification, like your qualified teacher status, when you get a job to teach in a school in the UK, you can only be a teacher and hold that position for only 4 years. My personal recommendation to teachers, I'm not a teacher, but if you're a teacher and you want to go to the UK under this guideline or under this leeway offered by the UK Home Office, my recommendation to you is to take the assessment. Try to get a qualified teacher status or an international qualified teacher status. This makes you recognized as a teacher to the Home Office in the UK. And when you get your position to work in an English school as a teacher, you can work there for infinity. You're not bound under the restriction of those that went to the UK without a qualified teacher's status. This is very, very important. Now, somebody out there is screaming, Fuse, what is the meaning of a qualified teacher status? You've been using this multiple times. What is the meaning? Now, all professional teachers in the UK that has underwent a teaching training or a training to become a teacher At the end of this journey, they're given a qualified teacher status. It's a certification that you can take to the bank, you can take to any school in the UK or any English school for that matter and show them this documentation and they will know, just by seeing it, they will know, oh, that is a teacher. This person is a qualified teacher. If you were interested in teaching in the UK, you cannot go far without a qualified teacher status. So you have to get it. Now, like I said earlier, you can work as a teacher in schools in the UK without a qualified teacher status, but you can only teach for 4 years. And if you want to try your luck without a qualified teacher status, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a school to accept you. So by getting the qualified teacher status, you're going to put yourself above everybody else in the crowd, and it's going to be easy for your application to be considered by schools who are recruiting for various subjects, or teachers who would take various subjects in their school. Another reason why you need to get a qualified teacher status is the qualified teacher status is the way in which English schools use to assess the quality of the teacher. All the training you must have gotten before you took the assessment to be granted your qualified teacher status is captured in the certificate. It tells them the quality of teacher you are by virtue of the courses that you've taken before you were given a qualified teacher status. So when you submit this, say you see an opening for a history teacher in African studies and you apply for this position, when you submit your qualified teacher status, they're going to go through the area of specialty that you went through, the courses you took before you were granted a QTS, and they will know that there goes a quality teacher. We need him in our school. Now, how do you get a qualified teacher status, or a QTS for short? How do you get it? You can see or go online, you can go on Google. You can go on Google and you can apply, or you can type in open positions in English schools in the UK, or in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, whatever part or region of the UK that suits your fancy. You can do this and you're going to see a lot of openings and you can apply. It's possible. You can apply without a QTS, you can apply, and if you apply by virtue of law of averages, if you try to put out 20 to 50 applications every day, you're going to get 5 that will stick. And you're going to get people or schools that are going to accept you for you to come to the UK with your family to take up positions, teaching positions in these schools. Now, when you do this, when you start teaching, you can go about taking an English course or a teaching course that's going to make sure when you graduate, you get a qualified teacher status or a QTS certificate at the end of your training. But there are many people that would not be open to doing this. There are many people that just want to get to the UK, start teaching immediately, and know that they can teach to infinity or to the age of retirement, and they know that they're done. If you fall under the second category, then you're going to need to apply to take the test for the International Qualified Teacher Status. And you can take this through England's Teaching Regulations Agency. Now, the reason why you need to take your QTS certification through the TRA, which is the Teaching Regulation Agency, is because to get your QTS through this agency is free of charge. There are other ways or other bodies that are going to grant you a QTS, but you're going to pay in excess of at least £8,000. Getting your QTS through the Teaching Regulation Agency is totally free. All you need to do is to submit documentation that shows that you graduated from a university, you've been teaching, you have an employment letter from a place where you're working right now in which you're teaching, you submit your police extract or your security check from your local police outfit, and that is it. You're going to be able to take the assessment and get your QTS, and to do this, you're not going to pay any fee at all. However, to get a QTS through the Teaching Regulation Agency, you need to be from a select number of countries. Countries like Australia, Canada, countries under the European Economic Area, Gibraltar, New Zealand, Switzerland, and the United States of America. From the 1st of February 2023, if you're from any of these 9 countries, you can apply to get your QTS certification from the Teacher Regulation Agency. Now, countries like Ghana, countries like Hong Kong, India, Jamaica, Nigeria, Singapore, South Africa, Ukraine, Zimbabwe. So people from any of these 9 countries, in addition to other countries I called out earlier. Now, these later 9 countries only take effect or come into effect from the 1st of February 2023. However, if you can prove that you are a certified teacher in the country where you're currently teaching in, you can apply for a QTS either outside the country by trying to apply for the international qualified teacher status, or by getting a job in the UK, going to the UK and then trying to get certified by getting a QTS. There is no prohibition, there is no restriction, as long as you can prove that you are a certified teacher currently teaching somewhere with experience right now. If you do not meet the requirement, if you don't meet the requirement to get your QTS through the Teacher Regulation Agency, there are other ways that you could apply for a QTS. You could apply for an assessment-based QTS. Now, for the other methods, all you need to do is to submit the right documentation that proves that you've been teaching, you're a certified teacher, you have the recommendation letters from your principal, people you work with, you are not a criminal. These are all you need to submit to get your QTS via the Teacher Regulation Agency. But if you find out you're short in some of this requirement, then you can take the assessment-based QTS route to get your QTS delivered to you. This is possible. You could also take a teacher's training course while you are in the UK. So when you get to the UK, maybe you get a job where your particular discipline or field, maybe you're a chemistry teacher, a physics teacher, a biology teacher, and you get a school that needs your services. Maybe they're in short, or biology, chemistry, physics teachers in short supply, and they need you, and they give you your certificate of sponsorship, your employment letter, and you get to the UK, you can start to take a teacher's training course, at the end of which you're going to get your QTS. There's a provision for this. To get a QTS, you are going to be able to prove that you can adapt your teaching to fit pupils of all age groups and all conditions. This is it, guys. This is where the tinker hits the pan. You're going to be able to prove that you can adapt your teaching to suit all age groups of pupils. You're going to be able to show that you are adaptable. Now, this is where the recommendation letter from your principal and any top-ranking official in the school where you're currently employed as a teacher comes in. This is particularly for those who are looking to apply for a QTS through the Teaching Regulation Agency. This particular criteria is for those people. If by some way, maybe through the documentation you submit, maybe something that someone who has it in for you in the school you're currently teaching, maybe they wrote a recommendation letter and somehow they put it there that your teaching method is very limited and is not adaptable. Don't cry, don't tear your shirt, don't pull your hair out. There's still another way that you could still get the QTS. This is where the assessment-based QTS comes into play. You can apply to get your QTS through the assessment-based route, or you can wait till you get to the UK, then you can take a teacher's training, at the end of which you're going to get a QTS. So all is not lost. If you have a qualified teacher learning and skills certification, you are automatically eligible to teach in schools in the UK. I'll repeat that. If you have a qualified teacher's skills and learning certification, or you belong to a society of teaching and learning either in your country or in the UK, you're automatically eligible to apply for teaching jobs in schools in the UK. Although it's still going to be up to the school to decide whether you are eligible to fill up positions, teaching positions for certain subjects in their school. So you might have this qualification, yes, you're eligible to teach in the UK, but it's still up to the school to say, you know what, this person is limited here, we don't think he's suitable enough, or this person more than compensates for this particular job. It's up to the school to decide. Another way that you could qualify to get teaching jobs in the UK is by taking postgraduate educational courses in the UK, or in English universities, or in universities or institutions in the United Kingdom. Maybe you're in the United Kingdom, you could enroll in these institutions, or you're outside the UK, you could go through online learning, distant learning online, by maybe logging and applying to different online educational institutions and get a postgraduate educational qualification or a postgraduate diploma. This does not put you in line to get a qualified teacher status or a QTS, but it makes you qualified to teach in schools in the UK. This is particularly for people who do not have a teaching experience, for people who do not have a teaching experience and have not been trained in an institution to be teachers, but are interested in taking up teaching positions, maybe because they've heard about the competitive salaries paid to teachers in the UK. You can go this way. However, when you finish taking this institutional training and you've gotten your postgraduate diploma or your postgraduate certification in education and you still want a QTS, then you can now take the assessment-based QTS testing and get your QTS at the end, or take extra teaching training that leads to the end or leads to you earning or receiving your QTS. Now let me put this out there. It's worth stressing this, that in England or in the UK, the Home Office encourages non-UK citizens who are teachers in their home countries to apply to schools in the UK that are looking for teachers. They encourage this. They are looking for teachers from other countries to come to the UK to take up teaching roles, teaching positions in this region of the world. They are looking for you guys. Now, after you finish getting your QTS, you would need to go through a period known as the Early Career Teacher Induction. The Early Career Teacher Induction is for non-UK teachers who have gotten their QTS through the Teaching Regulation Agency, assessment-based QTS people, or those who got a QTS after some level of teaching training. You're going to go through a period in which, while you're working as a teacher in the school and being paid to do so, you're going to be assessed based on how you deliver your lessons, based on your adaptability, based on your impact in trying to teach these subjects to young students and learners, and know how your methods are very impactful to the students. When you pass the Early Career Teacher Induction stage, then you're going to be recognized as a full-fledged, full-blown teacher in the UK. Now, it's good to be mindful that during this induction period, when you're being assessed, if you fall short of the requirements, your QTS status could be terminated. Now, that your QTS status is being terminated does not mean the school is going to fire you. It does not mean that your visa application or the visa you were granted is going to be rescinded and you're going to be deported. It just means that you're no longer going to be recognized under the status known as the qualified teacher status. It's possible for you to carry out your early career teacher induction in your home country where you're currently teaching. It's very possible. All you need to do is you need to reach an agreement with the institution that is looking to hire you to come to the UK to work as a teacher. Then the place where you're currently working, the school where you're currently working in as a teacher, is going to have to meet some guidelines and requirements where they're going to show or observe you. Now, the school where you're currently working in is going to observe that you meet the criteria for the early career teacher induction that has been highlighted or passed to them by the company or school that is looking to hire you in the UK. When you're able to meet these criteria and guidelines, the school where you're currently working is going to liaise with the school that's looking to hire you in the UK and show them or tell or communicate to them that, listen, Mr. Fuse, Mr. Bolanle, Mr. Jude has met the criteria that you guys sent to us for people that are looking to get an early career teacher induction. He's met the criteria and he can be inducted. And which means when you finally go to the UK, the status of limitation that comes into play for those that are looking to get their early career teachers induction done is not going to hold in your case. There are even institutions. There are institutions that have been accredited to carry out an early career teacher induction in their home country. I'm going to leave this in the description section, or you can go to the Fuse Chronicles website. In the article there, you're going to see these accredited institutions, and you can know whether any of them is in your country, and you can go to them to get your early career teacher induction done. Now you're going to ask me, Fuse, how much do teachers even earn in the UK? How much is your salary? Is it even worth it? In my country, I'm earning blah, blah, blah. Maybe I will just stay here. Well, let me bust your bubble. Teachers get paid very, very well in the UK. Now, it depends on where you're going to be teaching, the county where you're going to be teaching in. You can't compare a teacher in London to other parts of the UK. Teachers in outer London, inner London, and the fringes of London, they earn more than the rest of teachers in the UK. For example, teachers with a QTS and are teaching in regions around the inner part of London, they earn at least above £34,000 per year. Without a QTS but still teaching in inner London, they earn above £24,000 a year. Now, the first one with QTS was above £34,000. Without QTS, they earn above £24,000. Now, if you are teaching with QTS in regions or areas in the outer part of London, you're going to be earning as much as £32,000 per year. If you're teaching without QTS, but you're teaching in regions in the outer part of London, you're going to be earning above £22,000. For those with QTS but live in areas that are in the fringes of London, maybe at the suburbs of London, you're going to be earning at least £29,000 in a year. And for those without QTS but living in areas in the fringes of London, in the suburbs of London, you're going to be earning at least £20,000 a year. For those with QTS but living in Southampton, Nottingham, Coventry, Leicester, maybe Glasgow, other parts of the UK, you're going to be earning as much as £28,000 with QTS. Without QTS, but in other parts of the UK outside London, you're going to be earning at least £20,000. When you are applying, now I'm going to be talking about visa now. So I'm moving on to I'm going to talk about the visa. The visa you need to apply for when you get accepted by a school in England or in the UK and you're looking to go for your visa, you would need to apply for the skilled workers visa. If you don't know anything about the skilled workers visa, I think we made a video about the skilled workers visa. I'm going to leave a link to that video up there. You can click that and it's going to tell you everything you need to know about the skilled worker visa, the cost, the amount of money you need to have in your account, how to get it, the amount of time it takes to process. Everything is in that video. But you need to get the skilled workers visa. One of the criteria that you need to meet to get a skilled workers visa is to prove or to show that the school that is looking to recruit you for you to come to the UK with your family to take up teaching roles or position in that school, you need to show that the salary that the school is going to pay you meets this scale that I just called out or read out to you guys. You need to prove. For example, if you are with QTS and you're teaching, or the school is located in Leicester or in Coventry or in Northampton, you need to prove that the school is going to pay you at least £28,000 in a year. Without QTS, you need to prove, if you're outside London, you need to prove that the school is going to pay you at least £20,000. If the school is going to pay you less than £28,000 because you have QTS and you're outside London, you're not going to be granted this visa, you're going to be denied. So you need to be mindful of this. Now remember, I told you that to get a visa to go to the UK as a teacher, you need to go for the skilled workers visa. However, there are other visa categories that you could also take advantage of if you don't want to go with the skilled workers visa. You can apply for the graduate visa. So maybe you're an international student who is studying in a university or an institution in England. At the end of your study period, you can apply for a graduate visa because maybe you've been accepted by a school to become a teacher, or you're looking to apply to a school who is going to accept you as a teacher. Now, I would recommend that you go for the first one. You should have applied to a school and then you apply for a graduate visa if you are already in the UK. But you need to be mindful of the fact that a graduate visa only gives you a period of 2 years. 2 years to work or look for work to teach in the UK. For those who are studying for their doctorate or their PhD, they get 3 years. You could also apply for teaching jobs in the UK to work as a part-time teacher. It's okay, it's possible. In fact, if you meet the following criteria, you're going to get the visa. It's okay, you could work part-time as a teacher in the UK. However, you need to prove that the company that is accepting you to work part-time as a teacher are at least going to pay you £21,000 in a year. You need to prove this. The UK does not joke with salaries, because if you can prove that the school or the company that you're working with is going to pay you this, then the government already knows that their tax money is coming. This is why the UK is clamping down on this salary requirement. You need to meet the salary cap or you're not going to be granted visa. Another visa category that you could take advantage of outside the skilled workers visa and the graduate visa is a visa category known as the high potential individual visa. Now, to take advantage of this visa, you need to be an individual who has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a PhD from a global university or institution that has been recognized by the Home Office. I'm going to leave a list of these institutions in the description section, or you can go to the Fuse Chronicles website and you're going to find it there. You also needed to have been awarded a qualification in either a bachelor's degree, master's degree, a PhD field in no sooner than 5 years ago. So it must not have been awarded 6 years ago. It has to be at least 5 years ago to apply under this visa category. You need to be able to have a command of the English language at least to the B1 intermediate level. Okay, you need to know how to use the English language in communication. You need to have an account statement that proves that you have sufficient funds to the tune of £1,000 £270. And finally, you need to have passed a security check. So you need to have gotten clearance from your local police in your country that shows you're not a flight risk, you're not a criminal, you're an outstanding citizen. You need to pass this criteria. Another visa category that you can take advantage of to come to the UK to teach is the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. Now, this is a visa category that is offered to people who are between 18 to 30 years of age. With this visa category, you don't need an institution to sponsor you, so you don't even need to get a job in the UK. You don't need to get a school to send you a certificate of sponsorship to come to the UK to work. You don't even need a company sponsoring. Maybe I should make a video about the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. Okay, let me know what you guys think, okay? Leave it down in the comment section if you want me to make a video, a separate video about the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. It's a visa category that is literally one of the easiest ways for you to come to the UK without sponsorship from a company, but you can get work in the UK. The only downside to the Youth Mobility Scheme visa is it only gives you a period of 2 years to work and live in the UK, but it can be extended after or before you get to the 2 years mark. Now, other visa categories that you could take advantage of to come to the UK to teach in a school, to work as a teacher in a school, is the UK Family Visa, the UK Ancestral Visa, and if you are from Hong Kong, you can take advantage of the British National Overseas Visa, but this is only for people who are from Hong Kong. I'm sorry guys, I know this video has extended, it's very long, but I tried to go as in-depth and as deep as possible for people who are interested in coming to the UK for work. Now, you need to be mindful of a certain number of things. The qualification to get a job as a teacher, it varies in different countries. Some countries, the standard is very low, some countries is very high. So when you send your documentation to a school that is looking to hire teachers for certain subjects in the UK, you need to be mindful of one thing. They're going to have to vet your certification and try to come up with an equivalent to try to pinpoint your level of qualification, your level of training, to see if you are qualified to work in their school. So sometimes when you apply for this open position, some of you might start to think, oh my God, it's been a month, it's been 2 months, it's been 3 months, it's been 6 months, it's been up to a year, maybe they didn't take me, they've not gotten back to me. No. To be able to vet your qualification, to be able to vet your teaching certification, they need to try to deduce the equivalence in the UK to know the level of teacher that you are. It takes some time. Now, to prove that you are at least an English speaker to the B1 intermediate level, what you need to do is to take the IELTS general test. Take the IELTS general test, and at least you need, listen, some people tell you you need to score at least 5 bands. No. No, no, no. You need to score at least 6 bands. What? 6 bands. 6 bands to be accepted and not be rejected because you failed to meet this criteria. Okay? I made a video on how to take the IELTS test in 5 days because I did. I took the IELTS test in 5 days and I scored a general 7 bands. If you want to know how to sit for the IELTS test and get 7 bands, you don't have to wait 15 days, 1 to 3 months to take the test. A video is going to pop up there. Why don't you click on that video and learn what you need to know to get qualified by virtue of English proficiency to be on your way to go to the UK to work as a teacher. Okay? In our next episode, I'm going to be coming out with a video that tells you schools that are actively recruiting teachers right now. So why don't you subscribe, like this video, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with your friends to be able to catch that video when it drops. And until the next one, I remain your value-based king, Fuse. I'll catch you all on the next cut. Bye-bye for now.